Alright, guys, this is coming from Al Jazeera America. And if you think that there isn't some kind of game plan involved in this, that these guys aren't told to do this, they pretty much are. Here's proof. I brought in an idea that what Obama does, Putin's basically going to mimic. And this is all on the chess game. This is all on the level. We've seen Putin talk about using mercenaries, or Putin talking about Obama using mercenaries. Something came out that said that Putin was going to use them in Syria against ISIS, and that ISIS and the rebels there were mercenaries. You get the idea, folks. Well, the U.S. had bombed that DWB, Doctors Without Borders hospital, and I don't even have the stats on me to say how many doctors, how many patients, but it was somewhere around 20, 30 people that were killed and or injured. And one of the things I wanted to say about this is that if you think that that chessboard that the globalists have set up isn't set up on both sides, here's the Russian side. Russia strikes 3 medical facilities in Syria, says NGO, or non-government organization. Physicians for Human Rights say facilities were hit last week across Syria during Russia's week-old bombing campaign. After a week-long military campaign in Syria to bolster government President Bashar al-Assad, Russian airstrikes have hit 3 medical facilities in the country's northwest. And what experts say is continuation of 4 years of attacks on healthcare facilities in rebel-held territories in the country. And you can really go into this and say that this was needed, this wasn't needed, and this was not a deliberate attack on them like the DWB attack on the hospital. However, we don't know who one of the main patients for the DWB was. We don't know what their connection was to, the Syrian rebels. Maybe those guys in DWB were the ones taking care of Obama's health care for ISIS, or his Syrian fighters, or they pissed off one of his guys and they called in an airstrike on the building. We'll never find out what it was about. But we know that Russia did this, and the New York-based Physicians for Human Rights, PHR, identified 3 strikes on October 2 and October 3 occurred in the province of Hama, Idlib, and Latakia. The strikes caused injuries, damages to the facility, and hampered desperately needed services, the group said. Bashar al-Assad's forces have begun relentless attacking Syria's healthcare system for the past 4 years, and the Russian government is now following in their footsteps. Whitney Brown's, PHR's director of programs, said in the press release, with these actions, Russia is damaging hospitals, putting patients and medical staff at risk, and depriving citizens of life-saving access to health care. Alright, and just to give you a heads up, PHR said there were 307 attacks on medical facilities in Syria since the conflict in 2011. And it says more than 90% of those attacks were perpetrated by the Syrian government forces, in other words, by President Bashar al-Assad and or his constituents. And these were intentional targets on medical facilities which constitute war crimes under Geneva Conventions. So, like I said, basically, Obama's going to do something, and then Putin's going to go and do it bigger. That's the idea. And because he's being glorified right now, this isn't going to hit mainstream. This is why I'm bringing it to you. Thanks.